being in all these groups from all over the country, people out west largely have wild fish. And then here we have areas more so on the East Coast where it's heavily stocked, sometimes completely stocked. And at the end of the year, those fish are going to die. These are not fish that we conserve. And then people get really mad for taking those fish out of the water or not keeping them wet enough. What would you tell those people who are critical of the people who keep fish, especially stockfish?
It's a conservation message of the importance of clean, cold water.
Welcome to Mayfly Rising, a podcast dedicated to elevating women's voices, recognition, and participation in fishing. And I'm your host, Kimberly Ranalla. Mayfly Rising is a space for honest conversations, shared experiences, and thoughtful discussions about the realities that women anglers face. From access and safety to overcoming systemic challenges, it is our hope to inspire unity so that together we can build a better tomorrow. Today, returning to share some more stories is our star expert, Julie Mattson, professional guide and member of the U.S. Women's National and World's Fly Fishing Team. Joining her in today's conversation is Julie's good friend and teammate, Ashley Wilmont, who's an educator, volunteer, and a member of the U.S. Women's National Fly Fishing Team. Together, they're here to share some of their wild stories from their travel and fishing adventures, and I'm sure this episode is going to be filled with lots of laughs, a little shock, and some unique experiences. So today, in the spirit of friendship and community, I'm honored to have Julie and Ashley here, and I can't wait to hear more about their wild journeys together. So with that, welcome to the show, Julie and Ashley.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Kim. Glad to be here.
We learned a lot of bit about Julie on episode 3, so today I'd like to kick it off with getting to know Ashley a little bit better. Ashley, you're from southeast Pennsylvania, stocked trout country. Tell me a little bit more about where you grew up.
Sure. So it was farm country, Chester County, no wild trout anywhere near that I knew of or, in that area. There, who knows, with some restoration work, there may be some there now, but warm water streams. And I would just go out and just to escape and do something fun. I'd walk through the field and then go up over the hill and down through the valley. And there's this pool there. And I had a white rooster tail, and I just had those fish figured out. So I knew if I casted it at a 45-degree angle, right beneath the base of the waterfalls, and then at a medium fast retrieve, every single cast would be a fish. It was just pretty consistently. So I grew up doing that and loved it. So I still, I love wild trout, but stock trout is really, they have a special place in my heart. They got me started in the trout fishing.
And I also lived in Pennsylvania for 25 years and understand trout, stock streams. In most of the cases, they have to stock because of the pH balance, right?
A lot of it has to do with the water temperature. Those streams, some of them just get so warm so fast that the wild trout just can't survive. So in order for people to go out and recreate and catch fish, they just have to be stocked. This fish have to be put in there to be caught.
Being in all these groups from all over the country, people out west largely have wild fish. And they protect them. They preserve them, conserve them, keep them wet, all of the things. And then here we have areas more so on the East Coast where it's heavily stocked, sometimes completely stocked. And at the end of the year, those fish are going to die. I've gone to fish in the beginning of summer when it starts getting warm and seen like all of the fish floating in the stream. So that's why we have a harvest. These are not fish that we conserve. And then people get really mad for taking those fish out of the water or not keeping them wet enough or taking a picture of a fish who's not really happy, although I think no fish are happy being caught, to be honest. What would you tell those people who are critical of the people who keep fish, especially stockfish?
Yeah, I think it really comes back to it's a conservation message of the importance of clean, cold water. So if we teach people to appreciate and love their resource, then they'll be able to protect it and understand and love it and preserve it for future generations. So if those people, if they have no connection to trout and to fishing, then how are they ever going to love and protect something if they don't have that connection? So the issue that we have here is that we just don't have the cold water to have wild trout everywhere. We just don't have it. So what we have to do is we have to stock trout. And what that does is that's the introduction. That itself, and that's why I just love fly fishing and fishing so much, is that it really connects us to the natural world and helps us to appreciate it and understand it so that if there's a threat, that we can actually stand up and fight for it because we care. I get the whole argument, stock trout, a lot of people look down on them. And I too, I believe protect the wild fish. Oh my gosh, yes, protect the wild fish, especially our brookies. Oh my gosh, protect them at all costs. Let's not dump stock trout over top of really sensitive wild fish. Let's not do that. We've got plenty of streams that are lesser quality that can handle the stock trout that don't have the wild trout population. That's it. Those trout, you think about a little kid that goes out with their family and they go, opening day of trout season in Pennsylvania is big. It is like a carnival. There are people everywhere, all along the stream banks, and that's huge. And a lot of people remember that. So a lot of times when they hook that stocky rainbow that doesn't have any fins, and it's not the ideal, but it's a trout, and it's a connection to the waterway. It's a connection to, their family and their friends. And that's meaningful. And that's really, I believe, is the gateway. That's why I like to teach so much, because I think it gets people engaged and connected with their environment. Who knows from there? Who knows if that person will become a champion conservationist later in their life? If they never go out on that stream, they never go fish, there's probably not a good chance that they'll be out there fighting tooth and nail for something.
Yeah, we need those licenses to be bought so that that funds so many different things.
The fishing too, it becomes different. I grew up in the West. So, we haven't put a stocked fish in a river. I think it's probably going on 53 to 54 years in the state of Montana now. All your stocked fish go in your reservoirs or lakes, that type of thing. But that's only place that they stock them. So it was interesting traveling and different things. And you're fishing only for stocked fish. What does that mean? So I had to learn about that. It is different. It is a little bit different fishing and different types of flies and stuff. And I'm sure Ashley could share a lot of that with us coming from those states, and Kim too. So
what type of fishing do you do, Ashley?
All types, really. So it depends on, honestly, my energy level. And that's why I love fishing so much. And I think it's such a great sport to get into, because there are days when I'm just tired. I'm just really tired and I don't feel like putting waders on. I don't feel like getting everything rigged up. I just want to go sit. So I'll go up to a local lake with a friend of mine, and we'll just throw the rods out and fish for carp and just sit there. If I'm just feeling adventurous, I want to do something different. Some friends of mine, we go down to Susquehanna River and we fish for big catfish. So we take live bait and use circle hooks and hike down in and climb down over a bank. We have a rope to help us get down the bank. And it's a little bit of an adventure. And it's a lot of fun. It's totally different than trout fishing. And of course, like the fly fishing. So I've got my Spring Creek. It's so great. It's right in my backyard. So fly fishing, I've done that for a long time. Right now, I'm getting into muskie fishing. I have not caught a muskie, but I have been trying. And so I have all the conventional tackle, and I've been trying to catch one. I've seen them, but I've not actually caught one yet. So that's the next adventure.
Where are you fishing for muskie?
All over. There's some local lakes around that I go to, in some creeks. I've only been to one creek so far to actually fish for them. Pennsylvania, so there's like a big lake up there. I heard that someone caught one up in there and where the creek comes in, so I'm going to try and go up there and catch it. But I don't know. You actually edit that out. Pause. Don't put that in there. It's not the musky
Okay.
spot.
Okay. I'll beep it out. That's funny. Oh my goodness. So I know you were a competitor on the U.S. women's fly fishing team, and I'm sure that you and Julie have a lot of fun stories to get to. But first, I'd like to briefly highlight your work history in the industry. You previously worked at the PA Council of Trout Unlimited, and you were a guide on the Yaak River. Said that right.
Mhm.
I had to look it up. But tell us, what do you do now?
Right now, I work for Penn State. I work for the Earth and Environmental Systems Institute, and I help with their events. And I'm also a part-time instructor for the Penn State fly fishing class. So I teach class during the fall and spring semester, Monday nights, and it's the Joe Humphreys class. So it's an honor to be an instructor in that class.
Absolutely. What do you teach in that class?
We cover 3 main aspects of fly fishing. So there's the fly tying component, there is the casting component, and then of course there's the fishing. And so we start off with tying flies. We learn about macroinvertebrates, learn about the life cycles, learn about conservation, learn about the importance of clean, cold water, learn about trout, and then we tie our flies. We did tie a sulfur dry fly this past semester, and one of the students caught her first trout on a sulfur dry fly. So that was great on Spring Creek, a wild brown trout. It was great. It was awesome to be part of that experience. She did so well. But anyway, so that there's a fly tying component. So they have to tie some flies, and then they have to cast. So we go into the gym, into rec hall, and we learn how to cast. And I teach the Joan Wolfe fly casting method. I've never been to Joan's class, but I was taught by Dale and Cindy Kotowski how to teach groups using Joan's method. So I worked at Wilderness Voyagers for a couple years when I was in college as a guiding and instructing, and Dale and Cindy were there, and they taught me how to teach groups. That's what I use that method, and Joan's method is just so great. It really is it's so easy to teach, and people see results quickly, and it just gives them the confidence to keep going. And I just love it. So they get that introduction to casting, and then we go out and we fish.
Do you have to be enrolled there?
You do, yes. So it is actually a 1.5 credit class, and it's within the kinesiology department. So students that are currently enrolled, they can take that it's essentially as one of their gym credits.
You also have an extensive list of volunteer experiences, including the Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission, Trout Unlimited, Project Healing Waters, Real Girls Fly Fishing Program, Casting for Recovery, and the Rivers Conservation Fly Fishing Camp, just to name a few. Which of those experiences has been the most rewarding?
It's seeing individuals that just experience the joy out on the stream. And there's so many of those. I could think of so many people that they've caught fish for the first time. And it was just it was amazing. I was so excited. And everyone was hyped up, and it was just, their friends were cheering them on. And it was so exciting. I think, honestly, helping out. So Helena Fisher, she's definitely someone to keep an eye out for. She's up and coming. She's a competitor. I've worked a little bit with her, and it's so rewarding seeing her just do really well. It's so great just to see her going out there and just doing amazing out on the stream.
I love Helena. She's actually going to be a guest in the next couple of weeks. So
Good.
I'm excited. Yeah, it's been exciting to watch her. And I think she's trying out for the women's team now. So that's super exciting. So I know that you've been very supportive. Julie, too. There's so many people. I think she's got a good circle of people supporting her, but you'll have to tune in for that episode with her. Do you have any other fun hobbies that you like to do?
I just like being out on the water. Yeah, anything that can get me out on the water. It's so relaxing. It's so calming. I just bought a stand-up paddle board. So yeah, looking forward to fishing off of that, taking it down some creeks and packing my gear up on there. Uh, so that's like my next adventure. And I have a 14-foot, just flat bottom aluminum John boat. And I just love that thing. It's so great. It's so simple and it's easy to operate. I learned how to launch it myself and all that. And it's great too when I have friends that can go out with me and we go fish and we just have a blast. That boat has caught so many fish. It looks like this boat you would see 2 steps away from the junkyard, but that boat has caught so many fish.
You put a lot of time into that. I remember talking to you on the phone because you were putting bearings in the trailer and asking me questions because I used to have a drift boat. Yeah, so I remember you put a lot of work into that.
Yeah, it was all a learning experience. And it was great being on the team because then I got to meet people like Julie and then be able to reach out to her and ask questions about that stuff. And Julie's just got years and years of experience. So it's nice to have someone in my corner that I can reach out to and about stuff like that.
I just like having friends with boats. I love anything on the water and I love boats, but they are expensive and time consuming and you got to have a place to keep them. So for right now, until we're settled living where we want to live, I just need lots of friends who have boats.
All right, come on up. I don't have, mine isn't fancy, but you're always welcome.
I don't need a fancy boat. So long as there isn't gators. If there's gators, I want a fancy boat. Big fancy boat. I once tipped a canoe in gator waters in Florida.
Oh.
And I almost had a stroke. We skipped school for the day. I don't know. I was only in like 9th or 10th grade. We skipped school, got this canoe. I think we rented it. Went out into the water. There was like 4 or 5 of us, which was too many for this thing.
Oh my gosh.
And it tipped over and I went into an absolute panic. I looked like a piranha eating meat, in the water. It scared me to death. Okay. So what are you really passionate about? What deeply matters to you?
What I'm really passionate about is teaching people how to fly fish. And, if somebody comes up to me and then they just want to learn how to regular fish, I'd be happy to show them that too. I think all fishing is good. But it's really that introducing someone to fishing, introducing them to the environment, to clean, cold water, or just water in general, so that they may have an idea of, hey, clean water is really important and it needs protected, that these waterways need a voice. They need somebody to stand up for them. And I think in the whole conservation effort, there's a lot of different roles and there's a lot of different jobs and tasks and things that need to be done. I can't do it all. I'm not good in one particular area, maybe going to legislator and advocating. That's just not my strength. But where I'm good at is that teaching people how to fish. I can catch fish and I can show someone how to do it. And that would be an enjoyable experience. So that, and that's how I feel like I'm doing my part for the environment, is that I may be teaching someone how to appreciate what's around them. And it's so they go out and they protect it if need be.
You're giving them a reason to care.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I really believe that how are we supposed to protect something and stand up for it if we don't know it and love it?
The first time that I met you, Ashley, I was just starting Mayfly.
Okay.
I had gone to the Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission Women's. It was an inclusivity group at that time, run by Amity Daniels, who's now still my shero of the whole world. She never asked for a spotlight. She just is always in the background doing these amazing things. And I tell people all over the country about her and how she has really created a web, whereas I've seen a lot of states that have all these different groups, like Virginia here. And you either fit into this one or you fit into that one or maybe fit into this one, right? Which one do you click with? And then all the people in the middle don't have anybody. Right? But in Pennsylvania, back in the day, God, this was 2018. I have my certificate.
Oh, nice.
2018. It's right up here. My fly fishing skills certificate I got from PA Fish and Boat. So I went to that, and Amity took everybody under her wings, but I think there were 13 of us that first year. And then she sent us back to work with our Trout Unlimited groups, which at that time were like, you want to do what? I'll never forget. You want a what? You want a women's inclusivity group? Like, we don't know about that. At least my group was like that, but they were wonderful. But, at first it was pretty shocking back then. And then we just held classes and grew the women's demographic. And now I go back to Pennsylvania and I see 100 women show up to the events. She has a network, and it's like a web across the state. And no matter where you're at, there's somebody there to support you, which is a big deal because especially new anglers who don't know how to navigate the outdoors, they need a friend, right? They need a community to take them out there and teach them. And so what she's done there is so incredible. What is your take on Amity and what she's built?
She's incredible. She's so incredible and just, so humble. And she has built that community just from the ground up. I mean, it really, and she's been and still is the driving force that keeps everybody together. And it's all the work that she puts in, that all just the email reminders and checking in and just making people feel welcome and just the details that she pays attention to that just make the difference. And we are very fortunate to have her in this state.
She's so well-spoken, so graceful, right? So organized, so simply stated, just so easy. And yet she's accomplished such huge things, and she's so humble about it. I'm always trying to throw praise her way, and she's, no, it's the group. No, it's the team. No, it's the women. It's not me. It's everybody, I asked her to do a podcast interview, and she won't do it by herself. She's, oh no, I need my team. They're just as important, if not more important. So she's the greatest. So the first year she held a retreat, and I went to the retreat. Me and Julie talked about this story.
Yeah.
This was the retreat that I forgot my reel. And so we had all these women there, and I had this Euro rod, and somebody gave me a reel that was very heavy, older, wrong line, and I couldn't cast this reel. Mind you, I was a spin angler when I started Mayfly, so at that time I had only been fly fishing for a year, and I wasn't that good. I didn't understand exactly what I was doing yet, not until I moved to Tennessee and I started fishing really clear water. And then I understood, made the connections, right? And got really good at fishing. But so I'm all self-conscious, and I was so ashamed of myself, and I could not fish and I could not cast. I didn't tell you the rest of that story, Julie. So towards the end of the night, everybody's going to go in and eat dinner. And I finally start casting, and I'm like, oh, and I'm getting it out. I'm like, look, I should cast. Look, everybody. And I casted and I casted, and I wasn't even fishing. I was just casting. And I was like, that felt good. I proved myself, and I reel it in. And I'll be darned, I didn't have a fly on it, and it broke it off. And so I just looked around. I didn't say anything, reeled it in. And I went in and we ate dinner. And that night, Ashley, we're all sitting by this campfire. We were at the Godspeed Hostel or something. And Ashley isn't, though. She hung out and talked for a while, but then she disappears with somebody else. And she comes back. She's got a headlamp on. It's dark. And she had gone to the river. And she's explaining, I'm pretty sure you explained that you were literally just laying over the bank and hooking in. So she brings us this picture of this fish she caught. And I was just like, oh my God, she's like the fishing queen. Like she's fishing with a headlamp, I did. I thought you were just the coolest person there.
I remember that fish. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe a fishing fool is more like it. I think that's probably the better way because there's a ton of snakes there and I am not a fan of snakes. So that was not a smart idea in hindsight. But yeah, I don't know. It's just so much fun just to go out with. It's so great. That's why and to give praise to Amity too, is that she's created this network and I've met people in that network who are just as crazy about fly fishing and fishing in general as I am. And it's great to find that there's other people who are like that. And so thank you, Amity, for that. Thanks so much. But it was just so great. Like because I usually fish by myself, and then to find people that were willing to go out at night and like with a headlamp and go fish, and it was great. It was a lot of fun.
I didn't even know at that time that you could do that. So I was in complete awe. I'm like, what are you doing? It's dark. And you told me then that's when the big fish hunt. And I was like, oh, that's when I learned that. And then that night, we had a bunkhouse, and she happened to be so lucky to get the bunk next to me. And I literally kept her up all night talking about Mayfly because I was in the middle of planning out this business and how I was going to do this and that. And it was like 1 or 2 or maybe later in the morning that I just beat Ashley's ear. And you just sat and listened to me and just smiled. And I kept saying, I'm sorry.
I thought that was awesome. You were just so motivated and so passionate. I was like, wow, she's serious about this. This is going to go somewhere. And look where you're at now. I mean, you're known internationally. I mean, that's huge. And it's so cool to be able to see your business from that point, like the very beginning into what it is now. I mean, that's just, it's incredible to see. And I just hope it grows and grows and gets bigger and bigger. That's just very, very cool. You've just made the sport so much more accessible to so many more people that would not have had that. Going back to like, I'm passionate about getting people connected to the resource, connecting to the environment, connecting to other people, to their friends. And really you've in that way helped that. You've just opened the doors up and brought so many more people in. It's wonderful. I see like on Facebook too, like I'm friends with people and I see just the friendships that have been made just, from that. And like they're wearing their Miss Mayfly waders. And it's so cool that's a common thread. And just, for that to be, a local, small business, it's just amazing. I'm so glad it's doing well. And like, I can't wait to see where it goes.
Thank you. It was so funny. You're so graceful. You were very graceful that night. I felt so bad forever. I was like, she probably hates me because I just ran my mouth all night. I couldn't stop. And that's how my brain works. And that was the key.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that I had to hold myself accountable by telling everybody I knew what I was going to do. And I made sure no matter where I went that everybody knew, because I had no option but to succeed at it, or else I would have had to literally leave the country. I would have been the laughingstock had I failed at it. So telling everybody was my ultimate, that was the marriage to my company. So part of that was there at that group. And I was like, I can't come back without waders.
And you did. I'm so glad you did. I'm so glad you stuck with it and still are growing the business. I'm so glad for that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's great. It grows 30 to 40% every year. We can't keep waders in stock, and we almost have to rebuild the company every year to scale it to the next level. So every year it's being just rebuilt and scaled. I mean, we have a lot of cool things coming out in this fall. We've had a lot of supply chain issues due to the tariffs this past year and a half. So this fall, we have some good stuff. We're getting our boots back, get new boots in. And we have the new Evo wader, which is a budget-friendly wader, but it's a great freaking wader. I sent one to you, Julie.
Yep.
You got
I wore
the Evo,
when I was out in New Mexico at a women's clinic, and I've been wearing it guided, and it's been great so far. I've probably been out on 15 trips or so far in it, and it's been great. It's light, so you can wear it in the warmer weather, which is a great feature with that. It's not so heavy that you're just dying in it when it's 80 degrees outside. So that's been awesome. Fit's awesome. They fit for women. I'm just telling you, it's a great thing because usually I had about 3 inches too big. So yeah, it's been a great thing to start wearing those.
Yeah, the feet are so great. All right, so now Julie gets to tell us a story. It's your turn.
That's putting me right on the spot.
Let me ask.
Okay.
So how do you two know each other? When did you meet?
When the first clinic came about for the U.S. women's fly fishing, I went to New York and kind of got paired in a group with Ashley, and it was something else. I was out of my elements, just a lot of different things. I was trying to be very open-minded, so I was trying to make it where I really didn't know much about it. And so I was trying to absorb anything that I could. And we were out and they had a competition after we did the clinic. And so it was an introduction to us newer ones about our first comp to go to. And I was controlling Ashley and she jumped off a retainer wall. We're talking like 15, 20 feet, cement wall down the side into the water. And it starts catching fish. And I'm thinking, there's no way. There's no way I can do this. I would have broke my knees, my ankles, something. She's later on telling me, oh yeah, I'm going to go steelhead fishing and everything after I leave here. And I'm like, you got to tell me how you do. You know, I've never been in that part of the country, steelhead. And mine comes from being in Idaho and out west. And so I call her a few days later. I'm like, how'd the steelhead go? And she goes, I didn't go. I was at the hospital the whole time because I jumped off that retainer wall and hurt my back. And I was like, well, okay, this is something I can do. So yeah, you know, be smart about what you're doing in the competition. But I was just in awe at the time thinking, you got to be 20 to be able to compete if you're jumping off walls and everything else. So that was kind of the introduction. And then we had a house rented there too. And in the evenings, we were tying flies and repairing boots. I remember Jackie had a pair of boots that fell apart and we're putting super glue and studs in them and all kinds of stuff trying to get ready for our first comp that none of us had ever done before. And Ashley was real instrumental in walking us through some of it and helping us navigate all that and stuff. So that's where that bond started. And then we've just done a lot of things from there on out. It's been a crazy ride. I'm sure Ashley remembers some things too that we've done that were interesting, I guess you might say.
It's been an adventure. It's been definitely just one big adventure, knowing Julie. I wish we lived closer. I really wish we lived closer. Maybe it's a good thing we don't live close to each other because I feel like we'd probably get a lot of trouble together. We'd probably do some crazy fishing stuff.
And I'm always opposite. Like when I get ready in the mornings for a competition, if I'm nervous, I joke around. So I'm one that'll dance in the front of Ashley's vehicle when she pulls up or do something crazy where everybody else is just very serious. They're getting their gear ready. My gear's ready. I'm ready to go, but I just need that moment to relax. And that's one of the ways I do it is I tend to be a little bit goofy sometimes.
That's why I like hanging out with you. Because when we were up in New York, dude, I didn't even know you. And we had this house together and we were all staying together, you, Jackie, and I. And we just had a blast. We had a riot. That was so much fun.
You should tell the boot story.
Which one?
Lace.
We were getting ready. So we came back at the end of the day or at the end of this comp. And then we're there and all these guys are there, that all the competitors and we're competing with. That's one thing about competition that's so cool was that we get to compete with some of the best in the world and in the country. It's not like baseball where, you know, if someone that's in a rec league, they can't just go play with a major league baseball player on a regular. It's too big. But competition fly fishing is such a small niche sport that we rub elbows with some of the best and we get to compete against them and learn from them. So we're there. There's all these
awards. It was an award ceremony.
It was. Yeah. And I gotta get out. And I'm looking and Julie's just sitting there. I just look at her. She's like, I can't move. I can't move my feet. She had somehow hooked her boots together So the little tabs that you pull your laces around, she hooked them together and she couldn't get them unhooked. She was stuck there in my Jeep. I had to go around, open the door, get her boots all tied so she could get out. We're just cracking up laughing the whole time. But that was the beginning of our friendship. So if that tells you anything, how much of a ride it's been.
Oh my gosh. What was the craziest thing you two did together?
Oh my gosh. Well, I know for you, I wasn't there, but you had a fall. You fell in a competition and almost you went to the hospital, I think.
Oh, yeah.
That was
got my
pretty nuts.
waders off me the whole 9 yards. Yeah. I couldn't.
What?
Yeah.
So I was in North Carolina. I was not competing, but I was at a clinic and there was a competition the next day. And we'd been climbing boulders all day, going through rough terrain. And I had lunch. Coming back, was with the new instructor, which was one of the gentlemen that had been on the men's team, the adult team, for such a long time. And we were going down this hillside and it had snowed a little bit. We were in North Carolina. And you had to there's some obstacles there, tree and everything. And I'd given my waiting staff to the person in front of me so they wouldn't fall. And I flipped up in the air, came down, and literally missed my head from a pointed rock by about 2 inches, and I couldn't feel my legs. And I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything. And I was laying there, and the gentleman that was the instructor goes, "This happened one time in football, and the guy never walked again." And I was like, I can't say what I said. We'll just say beep, beep. But anyways, after a few minutes, they were able to get me up and slowly walked out. I was in so much pain. It was incredible. And we went to an urgent care. They wouldn't even take me because I couldn't get out of the car without screaming. And so I ended up at the ER. They were going to cut my waders off. I talked them out of that and did x-rays and everything. But literally, I was black and blue. I had a perfect outline of my net along my spinal cord and all the way down. And so it was rough. It was heartbreaking the next morning looking out the window, watching everybody get ready for the comp, and I wasn't able to go. But yeah, it took a while to recover from that. It was unreal. So yeah.
That's so jolly though. You're there, they've got the scissors and there to cut your waders off to help you. And you're like, whoa, let's take a minute here. These are my waders.
Yep. So we had to take those off. I wasn't letting them cut my waders. I'd had those waders for 12 years. They were awesome.
My Lord.
I didn't care if my back was broke. We're not cutting my wader.
It might paralyze you. That's okay. Don't cut my waders.
No. So yeah, I have, but I think there's all those things that if you do it intentional like Ashley and jump off a retainer wall, or if you do it unintentional like myself, you do have those obstacles that definitely make you more cautious going out there by yourself too. And that's kind of something for everybody to think about if you're going to be somewhere that you're not used to going every single day and don't know the trails. Might want to have a buddy with you. Just a word of advice.
Another reason why women's fishing groups are so important, having that network of people that you can go fish with and learn new waters with. I won't fish a new water alone. I feel like, Ashley, you might do that.
We're at nationals, and these ladies that she does adventures with show up in shirts that says, "I survived a vacation with Ashley Wilmont." And I put a picture, so we should be able to post that on here. But yes, so Ashley, you should tell a little story about that.
Oh my gosh.
What did you do to those ladies?
There's so many stories. And that should be a whole nother podcast series in itself. It's just that the Casting for Recovery Western Pennsylvania fly fishing team and the adventures that we go on. I mean, we've been on some adventures.
Julie, have you experienced any of these travels with Ashley?
I actually have had the great opportunity to experience some of these with Ashley. If it's roadkill on the way to an event and her wanting part of it for fly tying and being out in a snowstorm too.
I need to elaborate on that.
What's that?
It was freshly killed. So we saw it get killed, and it was this beautiful fox. It was absolutely gorgeous in the wintertime, so it had its winter coat. I just couldn't see just something like that go to waste. And just, the fur on that was perfect. So, I mean, we couldn't just leave it. So I went back and got some fur.
What?
Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that.
You got some fur, or did you get the fox?
I actually got the tail.
And then it just traveled with the tail?
It did not smell very good in the vehicle. No.
So we were at this show. Julie and I were doing this show together, and then it was cold out. It was winter time. I figured it would be kept cold. It would be okay. And I just really wanted to keep it.
Yeah.
Who hit the fox? Did you hit the fox or somebody else hit the fox?
I hit the fox.
Wait.
Yeah.
I had a feeling. You left that out.
Wait. Well, but let me state this. It was not intentional. This fox was, I think maybe he had problems at home and he ran out in front of us. It was not intentional.
He got in a fight with his wife.
That could be his true statement. Ashley has a history with furs. And so what was the name of our friend, Ashley?
Francois, which was named by Norm, our coach in the Czech Republic. So Norm did name Francois.
But what was it? Was it a mink?
He was because I hang out with a lot of really great people that have a lot of knowledge about fly tying, and they give me tips and just ideas about where to get good fur. Someone found this mink. It was on a mink coat that was in a Goodwill, and they got the coat, and they actually, it had an actual mink on it. It was a full-size mink pelt, and they gave it to me. And so I had this little thing, and so I brought it along. I thought it'd be funny to have around, but Francois found his way. He surprised people throughout the trip.
Yeah.
We'll say that.
Because, on every team, you have such a variety of personalities, and we have someone on our team that is more girly, she might say, or afraid of those little things. So we kind of hid it in her bed. So we all sat downstairs and waited for the scream and for her to come down the stairs. And we didn't do it once. We actually did it in the Czech and Idaho. So we got her both. Same person.
Oh, I bet she appreciated that.
I made sure I put it at her feet. So when she got in the bed, that she just felt the fur with her toes.
And then the second time we put it up under her pillow. So when she slid her arm under her pillow. Yeah. So,
pranksters.
We are. And our coach was very supportive. He was like, did you guys do it? And he sat there with us waiting for the scream. So, yeah.
Oh, that's team building. I mean,
it is.
Right?
Yeah, I think so.
And from one angler to another, I hope this conversation leaves you feeling inspired, informed, and more supported. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time. If this conversation resonated with you, we'd love for you to subscribe to Mayfly Rising wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you know someone who might feel seen by this episode, consider sharing it with them. For more episodes, please go to www.mayflyrising.com, or if you would like to continue this conversation, please join our founding sponsors Facebook group, the Mayfly Society, where you can share your thoughts.